You're listening to Stu's Wrestling Podcast, established 2019. Direct from the North Wales coast, his verbal skills definitely outweigh his wrestling ability. It's time for British Wrestling's sharpshooter, your host, Stu Harmer!
A warm welcome to episode 18. My guest today is none other than a veteran on the UK circuit. It's his second time coming on the show. You're the second guest after Mike Mad Dog Angus. Here is my guest, Keith COLWILL, aka Roughneck. How's it going, Keith?
How you doing? You okay, buddy?
All good, mate, all good. Thanks once again, Keith, for coming on.
Oh, it's a pleasure, never a chore, buddy.
I just, obviously I don't give you much notice, do I? But...
No, listen, it's fine. If I've got the time to do it, I can do it. You know what I mean? It's one of those things where sometimes I think wrestling is not as dispensable as what they should be, given the circumstances. So if I can do it, I'll be more than happy to do it. In this case, I can. So awesome.
Cheers, Keith. Means a lot to me, coming on. Obviously, we've got a lot to talk about because when I had you on last January, things were a little bit different to how they are now in regards to your standing in the business. And basically, could you just tell the listeners what's going to be happening over the next 12 months so they're in the loop?
Well, basically, as it stands right now, I've been in the business I've been around the business for about 20 years. I've been wrestling for about 18. And as it stands right now, it's one of those situations where my body's breaking down, and I've got to think about my quality of life moving forward. And I don't want to be one of those guys who oversteered the welcome or did too much. So the bottom line is that I've been told I need two knee replacements within the next 5 years. And if hypothetically speaking, if I went to get them done now, I would be looking at at least for the both knees 20 months recovery time minimum, so with rehab and physio. So with that being said, I'm just it's just time to call it a day, basically.
What would be the long-standing issues? Say you were to carry on, what could happen to your health?
Well, I mean, the bottom line is that I'm in pain all the time now anyway, for example, yesterday I went to the gym and I put 22 kilo on the stack, which is probably two weights into the stack. I did 2 reps and my knees, the first rep I did, both my knees popped. The second one I did, I thought they were going to pop, my kneecaps were going to actually pop out my legs. So the bottom line is that I could be a cripple, and I don't want that.
In terms of what bookings have you got coming up? I suppose that should be my next question, really.
Yeah, I mean, as it stands right now, I've just recently come back to WAW again, and I had a fun match with Tony Knight, who was one of the adopted Knight family at WAW. It was a lot of fun, and there's a storyline behind it, so that makes it even more interesting for me. I'm going to be working for one, possibly Target. I'm going to be working at Hope. I'm going to be. I'm in discussions with TNT to do some stuff there. Wrestle Island as well. There's about 4 or 5, about 4 or 5 so far. EWW as well, down in Hastings. I think by the time I finish, I'll have worked for about 10-15 promotions by the time of this year. By the time I've called it a day.
It's a solid number for your swan song, mate.
Yeah, I believe so. I mean, like I said, listen, nobody's more gutted about having to retire more than me. I'm absolutely devastated about it, but it's my choice. And like I said before, the bottom line is that physically I'm finding it harder and harder. I'm 45 this year, which is not old, and I guess, but when you've got knees of an 80-year-old man, pretty much speaks for itself. And to be honest with you, it's not just from pro wrestling. it's actually from lots of heavy lifting. It's from playing football at a reasonably high level as well, because I was a goalkeeper. And yeah, it's just a cumulative effect. And the pro wrestling, it's just had its effect on me. That's the reason why it's time to cash in my chips.
Like, obviously these youngsters coming in to the business, you know, that they should be looking, shouldn't they, at their health as well, and what can happen.
Well, like it says, I mean, I got told in 2006 that I would never train again, never mind wrestle again, because I had a stroke. And I lost about 80% of strength down the right side of my body temporarily. It wasn't an ideal situation, but at that age, I was in a position where if a doctor turns around and tells you tells you what you can't do, I was young enough to turn around and say, for want of a better word, kiss my ass. You know what I mean? I'm going to do it, and I'll do whatever it takes in order to facilitate doing it. But now, the harsh reality of it is that I'm not getting any younger. The depth, the pool of talent that's out there right now, I'm just happy to be still wrestling. You know, there's so much good talent out there. The fact that I'm still picking up bookings is I don't know whether it's a testament of what I do or what, but it's flattering, and I'm proud to still be wrestling in this day and age.
Are you going to be, in terms of, will you be going out there as a face or a heel, or will it differ from promotion to promotion?
It'll differ from promotion to promotion. I mean, primarily, I work very much a tweener anyway. You know what I mean? I'm one. I have worked top outright heel, but you know, I get asked to do like how's the best way of putting it? Like a Steve Austin type character where you're a bit of an anti-hero, you know what I mean? And it fits the character pretty well for what I do. Usually I'm very much a tweener, but yeah, I'll work heel, I'll work blue eye, I'll work wherever I'm needed and do whatever I'm told ultimately. I'm sure when I have some retirement match down the line, I'll be getting booed out of the building, or I'll be getting told they can't wait to wave me off, and then there'll be other people who will be, you know, I'll be going out as a face, and they'll be sad to see me go, I guess, you know.
Who would you like to face on the final matches?
Oh, well, actually, we were talking about this the other day. As you know, one of my best friends is Roy Knight, and we were talking about doing a what you call it match. They've got their own little. They've got their own match, which is like a builder's cage match, where it's weapons all over, and then they've got they've got like fencing around the ring and stuff. So that would sound like a lot of fun. Ultimately, I just want to help get guys over, so I don't really care. As long as it's fun, and as long as it's telling a story and it makes sense, I'll do whatever that needs to be done. Really, I've had a couple of discussions with Jay at TNT about a possible storyline there, but I think it needs flushing out a little bit more. It's like one of those, when you go out, you want to go out on your shield, you know. I don't want to rehash any old ground or rehash any old territory, and so I'd like to do something where if there's guys who are in a position who need to be, I could help get over. Well, I'd rather do that than, you know what I mean? And that's how it should be. But I do believe, and I think it's time-honoured tradition that, you know, when you do your final matches, that you get a little bit of artistic license, and you have a little bit of say over your match. You know, that's always been what I've seen in the past. You know, it's your final match. You want to do it with guys that you like, and people who you love to work with. You know, so hopefully I'll be in a position where I can get guys over in a match and go out on my shield, you know. But time will tell, you know. Ultimately, at the end of the day, I'm getting paid regardless. So you've got an employee-employer relationship, and you've got to respect that.
Do you think, like, a lot of these, obviously I don't know the inner workings, but you know, like you say, you'll put people over.
Yeah.
Do enough of the guys do that, or is there still selfishness? Obviously, I only hear about this second hand because I've never been in the business. So, will people do it?
I mean, listen, I'll do it because I'm confident enough in my own abilities, and this is something I was talking to Roy about earlier on. Are wins and losses important? Of course they are, but at the same time, if you're a good enough storyteller in the ring, people ultimately won't remember the result, they'll remember the match, you know, and they'll remember the story that you told. So if I've been, like I said, I've been doing this for 18 years now, and I'd like to think I've mastered the art of getting over without winning, you know, and it can be done. It just takes a bit of experience in order to do it. And some guys, the guys who can't do that are the younger guys who think that wins and losses mean something. But ultimately, I mean, at the end of the day, the game's bent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it doesn't mean that it can't be fun, it can't be exciting, and it can't, and that it can be entertaining for the fans, you know. Because when it's all said and done, them are the guys who are buying the tickets, and as long as they go home happy, it don't matter who wins or who loses. But like I say, I hope that doesn't sound braggadocious, but I'm confident enough in my own ability to have a match. I can get beat and still get over in that match, you know.
I don't classify that as braggadocious. You've done it for so many years, and you don't mince your words, do you? You know, I don't think that is braggadocious. You've earned your stripes in the business, in my opinion.
I mean, like I said this the other day. I'm probably I'm my own harshest critic, and I'm probably the most self-deprecating wrestler on the circuit, if the truth be told, right? But I know what my strengths are, and I know what my weaknesses are. So I'll hide my weaknesses, and I'll extenuate my strengths. That's how it should work, you know. I'm not gonna There's a market here right now for a heavyweight wrestler to wrestle as a heavyweight, and I see everybody wants to do these extra things, and that's great, it's admirable, but just because you can do it doesn't necessarily mean that you should. I mean, everybody knows that Brock Lesnar can do a shooting star press. I mean, I know he didn't do it on that match at WrestleMania, but the fact of the matter is that he can do it. Doesn't mean that he should, and he's never going to do it again. The Big Show can do a moonsault from the top rope, which is possibly one of the greatest things you'll ever see. If a 450-pound man's flying through the air like that. But again, just because he can do it doesn't necessarily mean that he should. And I think in this marketplace as it is right now, there's a lot of guys, there's a lot of people thinking that they're a new breed of heavyweight, and to a certain degree they are. You know, there's a better quality of athlete coming around right now. But because everybody's trying to mimic that style and do that style, they've left the market open for someone just to be a genuine badass heavyweight who just goes in there, arrives, destroys, and leaves. I think people are maybe losing sight of that a little bit, you know.
Do you think? I know it's a cliche line. Is it like less is more? Do you think?
Oh, less is more if you know what you're doing. I mean, like I says, it's if you know what you're doing. I mean, he's a prime example, right? He's a prime example. You watch a Will Ospreay match from, I don't know, when he was wrestling Ricochet, say, okay, and they were one of the. Honestly, when you watched it, it was a sight to behold. Okay, the amount of stuff that they could do and they crammed into one match, it was unbelievable. Now, you watch Will Ospreay now, and he now knows that he can do that soul catching chop and elicit just the same response as what he could do if he was doing 15 aerial moves that he was doing before. And now if you watch him wrestle now, it's all in the context of a match. It all makes sense. He knows that he doesn't necessarily have to do it. So, do I believe the concept of less is more is integral? Yeah, it just hits people a little bit later. You know what I mean? The penny drops at some point with everybody. It dawns on them actually going, oh wow, I'm getting the same response for doing this amount instead of doing that amount, and I'm not killing myself in the process. You know, and that's something that younger wrestlers should possibly think about moving forward. You know, you don't have to cram everything into a match. And if you are cramming it in for, who are you doing it for? Are you doing it for the fans, or we're going to be brutally honest, or are you doing it for yourself because you can do it? You know, that's how I see things at the moment. You know.
Do you think there's a lot of copycats to them as well? Obviously, you know, said like Ricochet and Osprey. Do you think there's too much of it now?
Well, like I said, if you watch like Will wrestle now, it's like night and day. He knows where to put stuff in the context of telling a story in a ring. He'll still dazzle you. I mean, some of the stuff that he does is absolutely phenomenal. But I think because he's got a lot of people who admire him and see that his style that he's doing, hopefully that'll translate into them mimicking that style that he's doing now, as opposed to doing the style that he was doing maybe 3 or 4 years ago.
Do you think he'll stay put in Japan?
I think he'll go wherever he wants to go. At the end of the day, I think he's revered over there. He's well respected over there. He's making money over there. He's making money for the company. He's a draw over there. And I think it's great that a British wrestler's doing that over there as well. So if he's happy there, he's going to stay there, and he'd be crazy not to. I mean, you got look at. I mean, and Will wouldn't be in this group, right? But if you're an aspiring wrestler now, right, you want ultimately, and you want to get into WWE or one of them high-end companies or AEW. If I had the choice now, if you give me the choice between WWE or AEW, I go with AEW. And the only reason I would do that for is this: you're with an up-and-coming, growing company that's got financial backing, but more importantly, because the depth of the roster is not as big as WWE, you're going to get more TV time.
Yeah.
And if you get more TV time, you're putting yourself more in the shop front window. There's only so much TV time that WWE can allocate to you, whether it be on Raw, SmackDown, whether it be NXT UK. There's only so many hours of time they can allocate to wrestlers. So, do you want to be one of those guys who gets lost in the shuffle, or do you want to be one of those guys who can shine, you know, in AEW or even in Japan? You know, that's where I see things. I think Alex says that I don't watch a lot of. I watch NXT UK occasionally from time to time, and I watch NXT Takeover. But when you see, and it's great that the guys have got the contract and they've got the opportunity, and they've got that opportunity. I mean, a lot of the guys that are out there I've worked with, and I'm so happy for them that they've been given this opportunity. But ultimately, like I said, there's only so many hours in a day, and there's only so many hours WWE can allocate with TV time. So it's about, because you've got a little bit of choice now as a wrestler, if you're good enough, you've got to think which one's going to be best suited for you, you know.
Who are you liking in NXT UK when you do watch it?
I love what you call it. I love Big Dave. I love Big Dave because Big Dave is a heavyweight. He's a genuine heavyweight. He looks the part. And I've always had a lot of respect for him. There's another guy he's a big guy, but he can do bloody moonsaults and split leg moonsaults and all sorts. You know what I mean? But he's got his character down to a fine art now. So I'm a big fan of Big Dave's. I'll be honest with you, I love Gallus, and I've always loved Joe and Mark. I worked with Mark Coffey last year, and it was an honour and a pleasure to be working with him. I've worked with Wolfgang a lot, that was like in the mid-2000s. He's a great kid as well, unbelievably talented as well. So I love watching what they do. And I'm going to be honest with you, I'm not a big fan of Walter. I just think I don't get the appeal.
What's not right with him, in your opinion?
My opinion is I get the whole chop thing, But I think I'm just not enamoured by him at all. I don't think he works like the heavyweight that he could be. You know, I'm just not sold on him at all. I mean, I respect him, and I think it's great that he's out there and he's doing his thing. But he's not the guy I would use as precedent, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
But I do understand why they do it. It's just not my cup of tea. You know, it's probably a personal thing, as like a personal preference, I should say. But I'm just not sold on him. I see like a guy like that. He's another guy for you, Ashton Smith. I think he's unbelievable. If he was booked right, he could be the next British Rock, for Christ's sake. But like I said, it's all down to allocation and TV time.
Yeah.
And if your face fits, I guess, you know. And I'm not saying his face don't fit. I'm just thinking. I just know that he's got there's so much more to him, and he's that opportunity is not there for him right now. But who knows what's going to happen down the line?
Do you think it might be down to like maybe if they give him some promo time, maybe to add layers?
Yeah, possibly. Like I said, I mean, the Gallus get plenty of time, and I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
I think like I said, maybe there should be a little bit more equal distribution of that sort of time. But I'm not the I'm not the boss there. I'm sure there's a reason for everything, and they've got their own reasons for doing certain things. So, like I said, I'm sure down the line it'll all make sense, hopefully.
Do you think, just going back to Walter, what do you think as in collectively with Imperium? What do you think of the faction?
I kind of like the faction. I just think we're a little bit wooden. I just think we're a little bit. Maybe that's. I mean, I think that's part of the gimmick. But I just think I saw a promo done with them the other week, and I was like, you know, Gallus. I think it was Alexander Wolf or something, and I was thinking, and maybe it's that. Maybe it's a cultural thing. I don't know, but I was like, wow, that wasn't. It's like, you know, when you see a footballer, right? When you see a footballer getting paid 150 grand or 200 grand a week, you want the best, don't you? Because you're wrestling at you're at the highest level.
Yeah.
And I know, and I think, as far as I'm concerned, if you're in WWE in any way, shape, or form, whether it be NXT UK, Raw, SmackDown, whatever, you should be at the top of your game, the very top of your game. You shouldn't be making delivery of things that you would expect from a small league indie wrestling promotion. You know, you learn your trade there. You're in with the big boys now, and you should be delivering at that level.
Who, in regards to NXT then, how long do you think it'd be until Undisputed Era come up to the main roster? That was my next one.
No, I don't. The other thing is I don't. They seem quite reluctant to do so, don't they? I mean, I think there's an air of inevitability about it. But the guys seem, because look, it's no secret. When you watch Raw or SmackDown, or you watch NXT or NXT UK, the wrestlers have got a little bit more free reign. Do you know what I mean? To do what they want to do, compared to what they do at Raw or SmackDown. And I think, because from a creative standpoint, a wrestler would always want to have that level of creativity and that creative freedom that they're not going to have on Raw or SmackDown. I mean, if you watched, like when Paige, when Rhea was doing her thing on the main roster, she was only showcasing a fraction of what she could actually do, because they would make them hold back on stuff. And that's what they do. I don't know why they do it, but that's what they do. So as far as the Undisputed Era, whether they go, I mean, like I said, I think it's from a point of ambition, they'll probably want they're going to have to make that move, but they're in a comfort zone now, and they're happy to be there. They're content where they are. So who knows what'll happen with them? There's only so much you can do in the one promotion, I guess. But having said that, because you've got that strength that's strength and depth because they're constantly bringing new guys in. Who knows? They might be able to stay there forever and a day. They might be happy there.
It's just, to me, I look at it, they've been there over 2.5 years now since debut. It just seems to me like it's a long time, but I know obviously they love what they're doing down there. And you hear like Gargano and Ciampa saying they don't want to move up because they're happy. But I just think there's so many match possibilities. If they do come up to main roster, there's so much they can do.
Absolutely, but the other thing, what you need, the flip side of that coin is they are probably looking at guys who have made that jump from NXT to Raw and SmackDown, and they haven't been used as effectively, and that's because they've got a little. Again, it's that thing where there's only so much TV time that can be allocated to wrestlers on Raw and SmackDown. Now they're in that NXT thing. They know that they've got that little bit more artistic freedom and creative freedom, and they're probably going to have that little bit more TV time than what they would on Raw or SmackDown.
I was just seeing today, Keith. This is obviously, hot off the press. They've got Aleister Black versus AJ Styles for Elimination Chamber.
That's got the potential to be one hell of a match, hasn't it?
I just think with Aleister Black as well, it's been a very slow build, but hopefully now they're going to get him. They're going to propel him to the big matches now.
Yeah, because they haven't really pulled the trigger on him, and like I said, he's over. So maybe it's time to. I mean, I've been like, for instance, the other day Goldberg went over Bray Wyatt. Everybody was going up in arms. I thought it was great because it was unpredictable. It wasn't what you expected. And I don't care what anybody says. That character, the Fiend character, didn't get buried. The way they did it, it was that character can go on and continue to tell another story. And and the other thing is nobody wants to pay to, like back in the day, people like the Road Warriors. The Road Warriors were like that tag team that you wanted to go down that ring and kick the ever-loving piss out of people. Goldberg is exactly the same. Nobody pays to watch him do 20-minute matches. Nobody pays for him to wrestle. And I don't care what anybody says. He's not the greatest technical wrestler in the world, but he can put a match together. If you don't believe me, all you got to do is watch Halloween Havoc 98 with Goldberg and DDP. So can he do it? Yeah, but people don't want to see that. And the other thing is that the wrestling fact, like what people claim as being smart fans, I don't care what anybody says, they're still in the minority when it comes to WWE. Who do you think WWE want to cater to? Do they want to cater to the mass audience? Because the mass audience is not a smart crowd. The mass audience is kids. The mass audience is families who want to see larger than life characters like Goldberg. Because they're the people who won't buy the t-shirts. No, I'm not saying that they don't care about that smarter community. Well, I'm just saying they don't probably figure in the equation as much as. I think the smarter audience need to remember that, basically.
I don't think he's never with Bray Wyatt, the Fiend. He's never needed. I've always felt he's superseded any title anyway, just because the character's that big. Bit like a Jake Roberts scenario. I know they've obviously likened him to Jake with the promos and stuff like that. He's never needed the belt, and like you say, they protected him on Thursday at the event anyway, because how many spears did Goldberg get before he got the win?
Exactly, and then the lights went down, and then he was gone. He disappeared. Yeah. It kept them strong. Mm. How people can't see that is they want to see what they want to see. And from a business standpoint, I don't care what anybody says, that belt was going to go on Roman Reigns anyway, at some point. I'm 99.9% convinced Goldberg's going to be putting Reigns over. Okay, it's been settled for that to happen. Okay, so if he didn't give the belt away at Showdown, he was going to be giving it away at WrestleMania. So what's the problem? And like you said, that character don't need no belt. In the same that Jake Roberts didn't need a belt because he was over. Roddy Piper never particularly needed a world title.
Not at all.
So And the character, as far as I'm concerned, still strong. And he's got a match with John Cena. I mean, what do you want? That card looks stacked to me. I don't care what anybody says.
I think Tampa's going to be very good. I think they're due to have a good Mania, because I know last year there was a bit of and ahhing with people who weren't happy with the event on the whole. But yeah, I think this year they'll claw it back and we're in for a good one.
Yeah, I think it's going to deliver. I really do. I mean, the match with Reigns and Goldberg, is it going to be a classic? Hell no, it's not going to be a classic. But guess what? Neither was Hogan and Andre. And that dude's one of the biggest houses ever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, it doesn't have to be a great match. All it needs to be is have guys that can immerse you into that match and make you buy into them and buy into that match. That's all it needs. And I'm telling you now, just because you're a smart fan they're not worried about overly bothered about what they think. They're bothered about, they want to cater to the people that they know are going to be immersed into it, that can't wait to see who's got the better spear. You know, who is the true big dog. Them are the guys that they want to cater to. I didn't even watch Royal Rumble this year, but I'm actually looking forward to watching WrestleMania this year. I really am.
The Rumble was solid. It was, in my opinion, you know, everyone's opinion's different. Like, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it this year, to be fair.
Well, surely that's the beauty of wrestling. It's subjective.
Yeah.
It extends you the opportunity to have an opinion, and that's good. That's great. I'm not saying that anybody's opinion is more valid than the other, but from a business standpoint, it makes sense to cater to the people that buy it, who are buying tickets continuously and buying T-shirts and mugs and whatever they're selling.
What about Randy Orton and Edge? What are your feelings on that one?
I think Edge has got a sweet deal. That's what I think. But yeah, I think like you said, there's another one. It's another one that's telling a great story. If you just let yourself go and get suckered into it, it's like I said, you're gonna love it, you know, and that's what wrestling should be all about. You know, ultimately, if you're having a show, not everybody's gonna go home happy, but if you've entertained the majority, then you've done your job. And if the people that didn't like it, well, okay, that's fine. We'll try and get you the next time. That's the way I say wrestling. As long as you've entertained the majority, then you've done your job right. And I think WrestleMania, as it stands right now, is going to deliver on many fronts. So there's plenty of scope there for, if you don't like one match, you'll definitely like the other. You know.
Keith, have you got any dates with TNT, or is it still in the embryonic stages?
It's still in the embryonic stages. I think it's definitely going to be around Summer Explosion time or something like that. I basically, Jay, because I was one of the guys, well, I was at the very first show, and then between myself and Jay and what was the other guy called? Big guy. Well, anyway, I'm sorry, I feel rude because I forgot his name, but basically we were the guys who formulated TNT, and then it was effectively me and Jay, and then I helped Jay along with the product and showed him how to book and why you put matches in certain places and so on and so forth. But now Jay has took the ball and ran with it, and it's his own entity. You know what I mean? And he's gone great guns with it, and I think every show continues to get better and better, and that's testament to what Jay's achieved. He's done great with it, and it's like I said. I said this about 3 years ago. It's probably British Wrestling's one of British Wrestling's best kept secrets. Yeah. And now it's starting to get the exposure that it truly deserves. Does he do stuff that doesn't sit well with me? Like as in this from a creative standpoint? Yeah. But it's not my promotion, so it don't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. There's stuff there that I will scratch my head with. But that's counterbalanced by some of the amazing stuff that he does do. You know what I mean? He does put on a show that the fans for the fans, and like I said, he's always been a good friend to me, and I'll always support him no matter what, and I'm appreciative of all the opportunities that he's given me, and he's always shown me respect, and he's always shown being grateful for me helping him, and so on and so forth. But like I said, it's in its embryonic stages as it stands right now. I do want to do. I think we're going to do something over a couple of shows. We'll wait and see. But it would be great to be say goodbye to the TNT fans, because they've been awesome, and I've always getting a great reception when I've gone there. Let's face it, the standard of wrestling that's on there at the moment has continued to get better and better and better. But at the same time, I feel that there'll always be a place there for me if I want it, because ultimately I'm without blowing your own trumpet again, I've always been over there. You know, I was called Mr. TNT there for quite some time. And the fans have always been appreciative of what I've done, and I feel like I've always done well there, you know. So hopefully I'll get an opportunity to have a couple of good matches there and go one more round there before I retire.
Cheers, Keith.